Hi everyone. I believe you're already in video number 23. And for this particular video, what we will be talking about is still the academic task 1 of IELTS writing, but this time covering line graphs. So what I've done here is I've prepared a sample line graph for you. And this is something that you actually hear a lot nowadays in light of the coronavirus pandemic. So a lot of countries and regions are actually attempting to flatten the curve. So that term flattening the curve is something that you hear a lot. A lot of people actually always talk about the need to flatten the curve. So referring to flattening the curve, it really is a line graph. So if you see the red curve over here, so what you have here is a sudden surge of cases which will unfortunately overtake the healthcare system capacity over here, if you see that. And then cases will now therefore continue to rise because a lot of patients do not receive quality healthcare. And then towards the it will eventually arrive at the peak before seeing a decline. So what you have there is a very sharp curve, a very high curve. It's certainly not a flat curve. So these are the cases that you see in Italy, for example, or in Spain. But ideally, what we should be doing as government systems is to have this blue curve. As you can see, the rise of the cases is slower, and therefore allowing governments and administrators to make the needed adjustments. And then uh, because the rise of the cases are slower, then we will not be overwhelming the healthcare system over here. So all of these cases will receive their due healthcare, and hopefully they will arrive at their full recovery at a shorter period of time. And because of that, the cases would now consequently decline. So it's a line graph. So uh, if you try to monitor the news nowadays, then you will see a lot of this illustration, and you will see some countries that are able to quite flatten their curve. Notable countries include South Korea, for example, or Taiwan, or Singapore, New Zealand. But certain countries like what I mentioned a while ago, Italy, Spain, the UK is already dangerously exceeding the capacity to care for its patients, and so are certain states in the US. So, with that being said, I will go back now to the four attributes that I've been talking about in the previous videos. The four attributes for task 1 writing. And so let's now jump into these said four attributes for task 1 academic writing. So for line graphs, tensing is indeed critical because line graphs are always an indication of movement over time. So some line graphs might have time periods that begin from a certain time in the past and would progress to the present or to the future. So watch out for the tensing for line graphs. And remember, there is a certain verb that is what we call as the perfect tense. Uh, Perfect tenses are actually tenses that reveal a state or a action that happens over time. So perfect tenses do uh, fall appropriately under line graphs. So an example of a perfect tense is the present perfect tense, like has risen or have risen. that is in the present perfect. And then if you go back to the past perfect, so had climbed, had peaked, had plateaued. And then if you go to the future perfect, you will now be using will plus have plus the main verb. So for example, let's go back to the flattening the curve illustration. So if states are able to contain the spread of the coronavirus, then they will have managed to flatten the curve that would prevent the healthcare system from being overrun. So will have managed. That is now what you call the future perfect tense. The lesson on the perfect tenses will be in a separate video. But what I'm doing right now is I'm just giving you an idea as to how the perfect tense can be used and is most appropriately used for task 1 writing. And then let's now go into the nominal trap. So remember, nominals are nouns or noun phrases. So the same rules apply when we discuss the nominals, for example, in the table, for example, in video number 19, I believe. Was that video 19? There, the 4 attributes, yeah. And then when we discussed again the 4 attributes for video 21, talking about the maps. So for all intents and purposes, for a line graph, the nominals are contained in the x-axis over here as well as the y-axis over here. Okay, so the x-axis will indicate the time that has passed, and then the y-axis will indicate whatever. In this case, the y-axis reveals the number of cases that is documented. And then let's now jump to the cluster. So for the cluster, what we see now is, since it's a line graph, so we will now jump at certain points in the line rather than attempt to describe each particular point in the line graph. So going back to the flattening the curve illustration, so for example, in this case with the red curve, I will always begin with the starting point. Line graphs always begin from a starting point. And then maybe we can jump to the point where the number of cases exceed the capacity of the healthcare system. So that's the second point in the cluster. And then we can now jump into the peak. So now you have 3 points in the cluster. And then from there on, we can now jump again to the point where the number of cases will have dropped under the capacity of the healthcare system. That's the 4th point. And then we can now proceed to the last point over there. So that's a total of 5 points. So in order to describe this particular high graph, we needed 5 points. So that's what you call a cluster. Identifying the points in the line graph that we can deem significant and ignoring the other points in the line graph. Whereas for the protective measures, for example, with protective measures, we can start from the very beginning, and then we can maybe describe this very slow ascent over there, and then that's now the 2nd point, and then we can now describe the peak. That's now the 3rd point, and maybe we can just jump to the end of the line graph. That's the 4th point. So there are fewer points as regards to the flatter curve, so to speak. So that's our cluster. First, second, first, second. Oh, the second is over here. The third is over there, and then the last point is over there. So that's what you call a cluster. For line graphs, that's how you cluster the data. Avoiding the need to mention every single point in the line graph and isolating only the points in the line graph that can be deemed significant, ignoring the rest. And then finally, when it comes to the overview, so as regards to, remember the overview is a uh, a nutshell of what the graph indicates or communicates to the reader. So, for example, for this particular line graph, what we can say is that the line graph reveals two scenarios that indicate the particular incidences of coronavirus infections. With the first scenario um, revealing how the lack of protective measures would overcome the healthcare system, and the second scenario being more ideal. That is my overview for this particular graph. All right. Okay, so those are the four attributes when it comes to the line graph. And so for video number, I'm sorry, what video are we? Are in video number 23. So for video number 24, what I will be demonstrating is how to create a description for this particular graph. So what I'll be doing here is I will just be prepping it for you so that when it comes to video number 24, I can just go straight away and just create the essay. So what you can see here is world population growth from the 1800s. This is about the time of the Industrial Revolution, somewhere in the middle of that century, with projections up to 2100. So as you can see, the timeline traverses the past here from the 1800s all the way to the present, so here all over at 2020, and contains projections for the future all the way at 2100, which is at the end of this particular century we're in. So the tensing there will indicate the past tenses, and then the past perfect tenses as we are describing the slow stable increase, and then we can now describe the present tense or the present perfect when we describe the 2020 range, so that would certainly fall as one of the clusters. And then towards the future ranges of the graph, we can either use the simple future tense like will rise, will plateau, that's a simple future tense, or we can also use the future perfect tense. So the figures will have peaked at around the middle of this century, there at 2050, before the figures will have seen a decline. So towards the future ranges, we have the choice of whether to use the future perfect tense or the simple future tense. Ideally, it's really good to show a range of grammar, so you just mix the tensing accordingly. And you will see that when I demonstrate how to write that particular this particular line graph. So let's now move on to the nominals. So as you can see, the nominals are in the years over here. So years like this, like in 1800, and what's the next point in 1920, for example. 1820, yeah, 1920, for example. So uh, remember, years are like proper nouns, so please do not precede them with any article, like in an 1800 or in an 1920. So the feature of proper nouns are that is that they are not preceded by any article accordingly. But you can use, for example, the article the if you wish to describe an entire decade. Like for example, for the decade of the 1920s, for the decade of the 1920s. There, that's the only time we can use the. So those are the nominals, and then over here we can see millions of people. So this 1000 figure here would now represent. This is really a nasty nominal trapper, guys. So you cannot say 1000 millions of people. So this phrase is a nominal trapper. So it requires some deeper analysis. So 1000 million people is actually a billion. So we can the only way to describe this is by saying that it's a billion. So we hit 1 billion people in the 1800s, and then we now climbed to 2 billion people towards the 1920s. So that's how we will describe that nominal. Um, so again, it's a nasty nominal trapper. So this is 1 billion, 2 billion, 3 billion, 4 billion. So if you get all these nominals wrong, then I tell you, then your essay is just gonna drop to band 5.5. It's a nasty nominal trapper. Let's now go into the cluster, the third of the four attributes. So we will begin in 1800, and then we will jump to perhaps over here after a century and a half, or after 120 years over here. That's the second point in our cluster. This is the point where the figures just suddenly rise, and then from there we can now jump to the 2020 range over here. So this is ideally where we are. This is actually where we are actually already. We are nearly at 8 billion people, and then the fourth point in the cluster will be the peak, and then the fifth point is the projected decline towards 6 billion range in 2100. So that's 4 points in the cluster. 1, 2, and then we'll jump to the 2020 range. 3 and 4, and that's the fifth point in the cluster. So 5 points in the cluster, just to describe this particular line graph. And then we're now going into the overview. So basically what the line graph is just saying is that we can clearly see from the information that world population was rising steadily until towards the middle of the last century, where the figure suddenly spiked and eventually peaked to the and eventually is expected to peak towards the middle of this century before seeing a decline accordingly. So that's gonna be the overview. Anyway, you will see that in the essay that I will write. So that will be the content of video number 24. So what I've done here is I've just prepared the essay using the four attributes: the tensing, the nominal traps, the overview, and the cluster. So that's it, everybody. Remember, this video is a private video exclusively for my students, and then as you click on the next video at video number 24, you will just see me just type the essay right away, because that essay is actually the more public video. And again, if there are more questions, you just message me or just posit your questions in the comment boxes below. And don't forget to subscribe, guys. Thank you, everyone, and I'll see you in video number 24. Bye.